All right. Welcome to another Georgia Music Gamers podcast. I'm your host, Cyber, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Previous weeks we did interviews, but now we're going to do a roundtable discussion about one of our favorite games. You might be asking what that game is, but you can probably see it on the title card, and it's Beatmania IIDX. So we've got a couple of new faces here in the chat and in listening in. We got dotphase. I don't think dotphase has actually been in it. Oh, dotphase, you were in that first week's show, right?
Yes. I was in the one with Andy Numbers.
Andy Numbers. Dot is here. He's back with a vengeance. And we got Not Korske, which we've actually shouted out a couple times in previous shows, but he's never actually been in here until tonight.
Yeah, hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Not Korske is pretty good at the game. He's one of the right side players. He's got that right side pride.
One of the few.
So that means he gets to play with other people if he wants to. Although most people don't, because we have two cats at our local arcade here. So yeah, tonight's all about 2DX. We're doing it a little bit differently. We're just going to talk different topics about Beatmania, and we'll try to tie it back to Georgia as best as we can, because obviously this is the Georgia Music Gamers podcast. But generally speaking, I just wanted to get a sense of people's experience with the game and like what they think of it and theories and all that stuff. So we can talk about, first and foremost, first 2DX games. We got some old heads and we got some new heads in here. We can just start from the top. Cho, I know you have a lot to say on this topic, but what was your first 2DX game?
Actually, I firstly played Softstream or Second Style. I remember it was Second Style, but I also saw that the first cabinet, but I couldn't play it. But I knew it was in Korea. So actually.
So you're saying the Beatmania 2 cabinet is what you saw? Is that what you're referring to?
No, 2DX. Yeah, 2DX Second Style or Substream. Maybe one of those. I don't remember exactly that, but yeah.
Okay. So Dot, what was your first game?
My first game. So arcade experience involved as well.
The very first time you ever saw and or experienced a 2DX game.
We had the OG Beatmania 5 keys here at a putt-putt. Or not here, over in Texas where I'm from, they had a OG 5-key putt-putt, or Beatmania putt-putt. And I remember I was super duper little at the time. I forgot the age. But I hopped on there. Shortly after a month, it disappeared. But yeah, that was my first time ever touching Beatmania ever.
All right. And John?
Which one?
It was, for me, the first, it would probably be Sixth Style. It was CS, Sixth Style CS. I was in college, and, probably like a lot of people, you hang out with the DDR people, and some of them are playing some of the other games, and you go over and you're like, oh, cool, what's this? And yeah, so one of my friends that I met through the DDR, he had 2DX, and we played Sixth Style CS. And that was fun. That's what got me into it.
Awesome. Kevin, do you even play 2DX?
Yes, I do, actually. I'm just not as good as everyone. I started, of course, like all kids with no ambition, on Beatmania, the US one.
So you were playing the PS2?
Yes, I had to play the PS2 one, and that's all I actually played until 2016. It was only that one version.
Are you serious? Oh my god.
So the funny thing behind that is I haven't been able to pass a 10 until Tuesday, where I finally passed V since 2005.
That was probably the hardest song on that release, if I remember correctly.
The funny thing is I still can't pass Colors Hyper, though.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. They do have colors on there too. Oh my goodness.
US version.
Yes, the US PS2 version. All right, John Ham.
It does have Virtual Insanity, which is a banger of a song. I will give it that.
Yeah, I just wish it had another chart. That's the one sad thing about that whole thing. It only had a hyper and a normal.
Dang.
Well, thank you. John Ham.
So like Dot, my first Beatmania was a 5-key at Funsville in Augusta. And back then I was also really big into DDR. And I don't remember when I played my first 2DX game. It was either when Funsville got a 2DX Ace style, or it was Ace CS or 9CS, one of those three. That was my first time playing 2DX.
Gotcha. Porky, I know you play, right, Porky?
Yeah, I do. I'm shit though.
I'm not asking what your skill level is yet. I'm asking what your first game was.
I just recently started playing as of a few months ago.
Oh, that's cool. So what was your first game?
Oh shit! I think it was Impress. Like I had the fuck. I don't know if I should mention playing on PC on keyboard.
That's fine. There's plenty of simulators out there, I'm sure.
Simulators, right?
All right, that's cool. Oh, Ryan's just popped in. Ryan is not actually from Georgia, but he said he wanted to come in and listen to the podcast. So, did you want to chime in what your first 2DX game was?
Sure. How's my mic? Can you hear anything?
Yeah, you sound.
fine?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Probably 8 style CS, or gosh, I remember playing 6 style in the arcade. Back at Buffalo Bills in Prim Valley. But I mean, I was young, so I only played it like a couple times a year. There was a 2DX Red near my house that I'd play maybe once every few months. That just came out, I think, because I remember I imported 8 style CS, and 9th style CS was gonna come out, I think, a few months later, and so that was like the hypest shit. Because I remember outphase.com had like all the secret like info about it. It was really cool. But shoot, I think, yeah, if not that, then maybe like Hip Hop Mania at like a nickel.
See, Ryan is from California, so he had access to all like the coolest.
Oh yeah,
games.
yeah. So since I'm from Cali was actually the biggest and like the best area for Beatmania. We have a very large Asian population, so they already had the connections for a lot of Japanese imports, whereas most of the country didn't. This is during a time when we didn't really have a Japanese influence on America yet. So like anime is just kind of coming up. This is like after the VHS scene, and maybe like near right before the Konami, started to happen on TV. So like there wasn't a lot of anime in the mainstream, and there wasn't a lot of Japanese influence. So this is kind of still all niche, but there's a lot of Japanese people in the West Coast, and so they had a lot of imports. So yeah, sorry, it's a little bit. There's a lot of extra words to say that.
No,
yeah.
no, it's fine.
But
No, it gives you context, because I mean,
I have a lot of context. Yeah.
there was truly it was a very important time. But that's
Oh,
all right.
yeah.
2DX Red at Arcade Infinity.
Yeah, so no, 2DX Red was over at Super Arcade, and this was the janky ass Super Arcade before Mike Watson and the guy from Japan Arcade bought it or sold it to them. It was really, 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 really janky arcade. Like nothing matched. All of the machines were just like random candy cabs I've never seen before. Very weird. But anyway, they had a 2DX Red. The monitor was not correct, I think. I don't even think it was a CRT. I think it was an LCD. I can't really remember. It was probably a CRT because it was 2DX Red. It's just nothing in this place felt right, but but it was cool. It was like 50 cents. And then when you're able to figure out like, oh shit, like the VFX button gives you the anothers, you're like, well shit, I can't play the anothers. This stuff's too hard. But it was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry if I can just real quick, over at AI, I don't really know what they had then because I was a bit too young. But AI definitely had, I think, one, if not two 2DXs all the way back from like fourth style. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
It's certainly a lot of history that maybe we'll unpack in another episode because
Yeah.
there's a lot to cover there.
Sorry, yeah.
All right. So, what was your first 2DX?
It could very well have been Beatmania Game Boy.
Wow.
Bam! Bam!
Possibly the Gotta Mix 2.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that was
You
Gotcha
must
Mix.
really got a mix if you're on a plane on a Game Boy.
The Game Boy ones were called Gotcha Mix.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I actually was on the fence. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Gotcha, but I'm gonna say Gotta.
Yeah, I mean there is a Gotta mix, but it's not. Yeah, it's not probably not what you played. Good
Yeah.
lord. Yeah.
But in terms of standard CS stuff, I think I remember getting into 2DX around maybe 7th CS.
Okay. Was 7th the gap between releases? I want to say it was. For the home
Yeah,
versions.
I think it was pretty long between 6 and 7.
They,
Six and
they
seven
stopped
gap,
at
yeah.
6, and then they took there was like a sort of a poll on who would actually buy a 7th if they made it, and then they released 7. So yeah, the gap was between 6 and 7.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember 6th was pretty hefty in terms of features, which was different from well, we can talk about that in a bit. But so yeah, I'm Cyber, and my first game probably was a 5 key at the Funsville at the time. I knew about 2DX beforehand, like most people did from DDR, because on 5th Mix there were several songs that you would have to put a code in to unlock, and they had a little badge on them that said from 2DX, and it was like, what is this? You know, what is IIDX? We don't know what this is. We've never heard of it. And they had like Abyss and .59, Tengoku, and some other songs, and it was always just like, what is this about? So I did some more research, and I found Beatmania style. And I think I started with a simulator. Some of you guys might have heard of BM98.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
And back then there still had like song packs and stuff you could download from Beatmania style for credits or whatever. So I played a lot of that, and I played like Era Nostal Mix and all sorts of just janky BMS files that they had. And eventually I played the 5 key arcade, and then we had the first 2DX machine probably was the Funsville one. And then my first purchase 2DX related for PS2 was 3rd, 4th, and 6th for my birthday.
That's perfect.
I bought all of those at the same time around my birthday when I think when I turned 18. So it's been quite a while. I've been playing.
All you needed was 7th to finish it off, and you really never have to play another 2DX.
Yeah, I was very calculated with my selections because obviously I only had so much money at the time. But I picked based on song list and what I think I would want to play. So I avoided 5th Mix, or 5th style, I should say. And everybody complained that 5th style didn't have good high-speed options, which was, I don't know if you guys remember that whole rigmarole. All right, cool.
Well, the high speed was everything was slow, and then the timing was really weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. 5th style had some issues, but 5th style still had some good songs. It's just, in my mind, I couldn't justify a purchase of 5th style when a lot of the revivals were on 6th anyway. Well, the ones I wanted to play anyway. So I think that's what ultimately did that. So real quick, Dan ranks. Dan Indininte. So for those who don't know, Danininte. For some people, Dan ranks are a meme. I think it's a pretty decent. Well, I think it's one of the only ways the game can actually gauge your skill, like in a way that's consistent across the board. It's not like the end all be all. I'm not trying to say that Dan ranks are like what you should do and then you're done with the game. Some people say that reaching the top rank in Dan mode is like clearing the tutorial in 2DX. But just real quick, we're gonna go from top to bottom. Just tell me what your highest rank or what your current highest rank Dan mode is. So Cho.
Yes.
What's that? What's your highest Dan rank?
Now or
Right now.
right now? Chuden.
You're a Chuden. Okay. Dot.
Kaiden.
John Hannafin.
Uh,
Oh, wait a minute. Single or double?
Single.
Oh, just single?
Only single? We are only talking about.
We are only
If we're
talking
only
about.
talking about single, then I'll leave double out. But I'll estimate and say 8 done. I could probably do it, but I kind of quit right around when Cannonballers dropped, and I wasn't able to do 8 done on Cinebuzz because it was really bad.
Cool.
I'm on Godon right now. Bloomin' Feeling is killing me right now.
All right. Knox, do you play 2DX? Knox is muted, so I'm assuming he's just listening. All right. John Hamm?
Mendez Hell 10th.
10th then. All right. Porky?
I'm not really sure since I don't play on AC.
That's cool. Ryan?
Kaiden.
Oh, we got another Kaiden in the house. All right. Wirt?
I'm currently 9 Dan, but I've been 10 plenty of times.
Ben 10.
Yep.
And I am currently 7 because I haven't actually played 8 Dan yet on Cannonballers.
Yeah, boy.
Maybe I could do it, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm old now. I'm old. I'm an old man. So,
Dad.
yeah. Not technically. That's just what my nickname is. All right. So we got a wide range of experience. We have different starting points. What always interests me about 2DX is when you start, like when you recently started, sometimes can affect your overall skill. And I think the reasoning behind this, and maybe you guys can chime in on this reasoning, I feel like if you started the game a long time ago, there wasn't as many hard songs to play. Like the overall difficulty of the style was lower. And so that gives you time to learn the game, sure. But generally speaking, I think you start to pick up habits that work for that range of difficulty. And we're talking about a game, the series that's been out. You know, they just had their 20th anniversary not too long ago. Kids nowadays, I've noticed, that start recently, like with let's say like the last 5 styles, tend to be of a overall higher skill level because they have a wider song selection. That's my theory. And they also have a lot of resources to help them to learn how to play the game, how to do certain fingering styles. And I just wanted to get your guys' input. What do you guys think of that?
So I'm gonna forget what I'm about to say, so I just need to say it real quick about that. A lot of people today have 1,000 songs, but versus a long time ago, it was a little bit more intimate with the music. People would play the songs and really just love the song for the song and play the chart because it fit the song. So you have a lot of fun playing the game then as the game. Nowadays, it's just about getting good. So it seems to me that a lot of players are just playing, hey, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? So it's a constant push instead of just enjoying the time. So a lot of players, instead of having only 50 songs to play and each level difficulty was like a level 12 folder where everything is just scattered, it's just a smoother progression,
Right.
but a less intimate play, it seems like to me.
Okay. Are there any other input?
I think it's weird that you bring that up because Dance Dance Revolution kind of had the same escalation over time. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have impacted. I kind of agree with what you say. It doesn't seem to have impacted DDR as much, though. DDR, like once the style started changing, once we started moving to like Supernova 2 and beyond, everyone just kind of grew with it like it was nothing, regardless whether you're old head or new head. The other half is different, and I really wish this would come to DDR or any other game. Step Up is fun. I never played Step Up before Cannonballers, but it's nice that they give you a reason to get better, and in exchange for that, don't punish you for failing. That's been really nice, and like that might be a large part of the reason I just passed to 10 on Tuesday.
Right. Yeah. Step Up is a mode in the game where it gives you a pool of songs. You don't get the whole song list, but when you pass the upper limit of difficulty in that folder, it unlocks some songs that are higher than the previous level. So the idea being that over time you'll be getting better and better. Now, if you fail a song, it lets you keep playing, which if you play the normal modes, it basically just fails you out. But it'll let you keep playing, but then it'll drop you down a step. So it's a method in the game to try to get you to get better. Is really what that is.
Get you to step it up, basically.
Step it up, man. As opposed to drill mode, I'll be real fast. Drill mode on the CS games.
7 style.
Yeah, 7 style. And you can
Well,
also
some of it was in 5th and 6th.
5th and 6th was drill mode for like missions.
Yeah.
7th was master mode.
And then you have
Yeah,
master
master
mode.
mode.
That's right. That was how that's how they attempted to get you to skill up back then, which was slightly different because drill mode had like what, just certain measures of songs and stuff, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was a short collection of measures of like, here's a pattern, do this.
And it got more and more difficult the further you got along. And then Masters mode was basically, it was kind of like a game. Like you get like potions to get your health back, and you're basically expected to play through the whole song list on effectively one life bar.
One very long life bar.
Right. So it's, well, I think you were gonna chime in, Dot. You're gonna say something.
Oh no, I mean I fully agree. I really do. I think this game, the way that it's evolved over time, because I really started taking this game seriously when I was about 11 years old. That's when I really started getting into the game. And I remember, you know, messing around with a lot of songs, the heavy hitters from like 8 style, 9 style, 10 style. Like I know one big one from 10 style, you know, One More Lovely.
Yep.
You know, so, you know, take that song in perspective and look at it now. You know, but it's kind of things stepping in that direction. I mean, the whole entire having that 12 folder, and back in the day it used to be where there was a flashing 8, and the next thing you know with Happy Sky, and then we get into 12s and stuff like that. It's broadened the idea of the game. It's easier for people to get access to a lot of the harder charts off the bat because they don't even know what they're going to be playing. But it's just ease of access now. It really is. I mean, I still run into songs, and I've been playing this game so long. Like, you can ask Cho when he sees me play stuff. I still run into songs that I struggle with back in the day that I still struggle with now. That's just the way it is, you know. But no, I highly agree. I highly agree with what Ryan and Zyber were saying for sure. So.
I noticed a long time ago that there wasn't a lot of toggle finger placement because there wasn't 1048. That guy, he wasn't like, I don't know how he got so popular. Honestly, I know he was around for a long time. I think he was back in the Happy Sky like tournament.
He was,
but,
yeah.
Tushio was in the 2006 top ranker.
Yeah. I just don't remember who started pushing all of these finger placements, but I definitely remember when I started, there wasn't much of a talk about it, and you kind of just did claw or whatever worked. And so I've never really added 1048 until about a year ago. And my playstyle is basically like Dolce, where it's freeform. And that's actually a problem with progression because back with the intimacy I was talking about with the songs, you start to gain recognition for different patterns, and you keep enjoying and having fun moving your fingers around. But if you're static in 1048 and you just use the same finger for the same key, you only see a handful of patterns versus like 1,000, right? And it's more about just score. Let's just score. Finger goes here. But back to what I was saying about my fingers going everywhere, that actually caused me to not progress fast enough. I noticed people, if you were just static, that's the maximum potential you can possibly do. And that's the best. It's almost like robotic. People have been skyrocketing with it. I've been playing for probably like 13, 14 years, and freeform is not the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why 1048 works, right? Like, it's a way to attack the keys. I posted a link earlier that has a bunch of different playstyles that was translated from a Japanese site, but like even on that page, it specifically says, you know, use 1048 for most things. Sometimes you need to switch it up for scratch songs. Sometimes you need to scratch it up for, like, you know, whatever types of songs. But 1048 is what you should be doing if you want to progress quickly. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, on one hand, like, okay, like, you want to get better at the game because that's part of the fun. But it's like you're saying, like, you lose some of the charm and some of the character of like some of the easier charts.
Yeah, and that's why. So I am a strict, and I never known this at all until an individual from the England 2DX community told me about it, and I've been playing this game for years. I only play Taka S. My playstyle is Taka S, and
Really?
and I've been able to AAA things like Colorful Cookie. I've been able, and I mean, it get very, very, very good scores on songs that I never thought I'd be able to get nowadays. I think when it comes down to it, I mean, yes, of course, when it comes to playstyles, there are certain charts that are really going to be, your play is going to be optimized by using a certain playstyle, but ultimately what it comes down to is comfort of your playstyle that you like to, play as. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, one thing I do notice about this game that kind of tickles me weirdly is the fact that, like, people... It gets to the point where it's like you have to play this play style to nail these songs greatly. To be fair, not really, because we have a thing called random, and you can get lucky and get a random that works perfect with your play style, and you're good. But I think when it comes to play styles, comfort is like the number one thing. Sit down, figure out what's good for you, what's comfortable for you, and experiment with a whole bunch of different things and see how it works on other songs. Rather than just trying to be like, okay, this is like staple. This is the staple. Everyone's gonna do it, and this is the best, because I don't know. That's just...
Well, I think the people that want to play or start out today should really think about themselves and just go, what do I want? Yeah, exactly. What do I want out of this game?
Absolutely.
Do I want to get good scores? Do I want to have fun? Do I just want to chill out? Do I want to be the best? And so you would make your assumption of what to choose for your playstyle based on that. And it is so much more pure when you do that instead of just go, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. It feels right when you do the one that's right for you.
Absolutely.
Some deep words from Kaiden. I wouldn't expect them to hear
absolutely. No, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. I used to get criticized in the community a lot. Like, oh, well, why do you just play Taka S? Like, what's up with you? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I play this game because I enjoy it, and this is how I play it. Simply put, like that's just simply put,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when it comes down to it, output happens. I don't know. When I enjoy playing a game and I invest my time to get good at it and I'm comfortable with it, output happens, man.
Now, this is a slightly different tangent. We don't have to go into this, but personally, I feel that Taka S is a crutch. This might be something that you've noticed or may not have noticed. For my playstyle, I feel like when I wasn't doing well at something and my fingers weren't able to move fast enough, I would then Taka S. And then I go and tell myself, like, hey, well, I just need to make my hands go a little faster. I'm just curious if you noticed that, or your progression in the game never led you to have those sort of ideas or thoughts.
So crutch as in...
So, like, Taka S is when you use your thumb for 1 and 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the pictures in the chat.
So I noticed when I was trying to get better, because I freeform a lot, that if I was using my thumb for 1 and 3 at the same time, that didn't seem correct. I felt like I should have used my right, because I play one player. I should have been using my right hand's thumb for 3, or maybe my index or something else, or maybe like my left hand's index, but not 2 keys for 1 finger at the same time. It felt that I just wasn't good enough. Almost like, hey, I can't do streams on Poppin' Music, so I'm going to wear gloves. It's like, but you can do streams. You just got to work a little better or harder at getting it down. Now, that was just my personal experience with it. I've just never been able to deeply have a conversation with someone else that plays Taka S to know where they're coming from on that.
Yeah. So this is the thing. I didn't know I played Taka S until like not even like 3 years ago, honestly. So this is just how I've been playing throughout my whole entire time of when I've been playing this game. So when I mean, because when I stream 2DX or I play at the house or whatever, I use left thumb on 1 and 3 all the time, depending on patterns. I just do it because it's comfortable for me. I mean, I've never noticed it as a crutch, because half the time I'll get a random which absolutely destroys me. I don't know, on like, let's say like most like dense Taka 12s, like the more faster BPM ones.
Tasty
Yeah, sometimes I can get a really disgusting pattern that like, oh well, shit, I can't utilize my thumb like I would usually use it as. But no, I mean, I don't see it as a crutch. I never saw it as a crutch. I mean, that's just how I play.
Yeah,
it
goes back. It goes back to what you were just saying earlier. Like it's about comfort, right? So like saying that a style is wrong is predicated on the presumption that there is a right way to do this. But what I was hearing from you guys earlier, it's like there's not really a right way. It's like there might be like a way that will help you to get better over time, but you should ultimately play with whatever you feel most comfortable.
There's options. Choose the best option.
Yeah.
I have a thought. I played, or for a very long time, I did not use my thumbs in 2DX like at all. So like all of my keys were with my fingers, and I think that stemmed from playing CS with a KOC, where I usually would be playing with it like on my lap, or sitting down with it in between my legs or something, so I was using my thumbs as like a repositioner or like a stabilizer.
I did the exact same thing.
so I went from starting out base level not that great, and got better and better and better over time, but the whole time forcing myself to not use my thumbs because they were for another purpose. So I mean, I don't think that really happens nowadays because the arcade experience is more accessible, and so all the newer players starting out are being introduced to it in a different way.
Yeah, they're being given, and that's what I was mentioning earlier. Like they're being given the tools and strategies that we just sort of figured out earlier.
Yeah, developed over the course of time.
Speaking of that thumb thing, you should check this out. This is from my Make a Difference tutorial video. I don't know if you see on the 3 key. Do you see that?
Where are we?
It's in the.
Oh, you know what? I'm in the wrong.
Is that a coin?
No, that's where I kept my thumb so firmly into my controller that I took out the the label.
Can I? That was your Make a Difference video?
Yeah, that was my video. Yeah.
Back all those years ago.
Yep.
No way.
That was me.
I remember watching that video, going, "Dang, how do I do it? Oh my god, I remember this."
That was my video. Yeah.
Well, letting you know, it definitely helped at least one person.
Well,
It made a difference.
What? This is you?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god! Yeah, I remember this too.
Right?
But that number 3 key is where I firmly kept my thumb and the controller, and it rubbed off the decal.
Wow.
Because those things were made of plastic, so they always moved around. I didn't figure out until much later that you could buy a rubber mat to keep it in place on a table or something.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Dang. That is one way to make a difference, Zyber. Golly.
I had my brother help me record that video. I couldn't play it at the same time. But that was back when, like, you had to use I used a ironing board as my table to keep my controller in place. So you can imagine.
No, you had to. Everyone had to use an ironing board.
Yo, I used to play crisscross applesauce with the controller in my lap, dude.
Yep.
I used to play prone because that was the only way I could reach.
He said prone.
Lying on your stomach.
Yes.
That's how. Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, you're gonna have to explain yourself with that one.
If I ever take a picture of where my TV was and show you where the PS2 was, you'll see the only way it could really reach is if it was like right next to the TV on the ground, cord barely reaching, and like if it was in my lap, I just couldn't hit anything. I need a steady surface. A table would have been too tall, so I'm literally prone on the ground playing 2DX, and I got like the hypers on that, I think.
Yo, I never heard somebody saying they play 2DX laying down on the floor.
That's a Beatmania US magic.
Did you have a pillow to like support you anywhere? Like, were you comfortable? That's what I want to know. Were you comfortable?
Not really. That carpet was pretty hard, so my elbows were dead pretty quickly.
All right, that's so funny.
I'll bring an iron board to round 1 so I can bring back my prone style on the arcade cabinet.
Oh, wow.
What were you gonna say? Mark?
I used to play Tap Tap Revenge. I got into that in like 2008.
Oh my god.
And I definitely played that flat on my stomach all the time. And I have a jacket that has the elbows worn out. I'm pretty sure it was from that game.
The elbows worn out as in holes?
Yeah.
Oh, his dedication ruined a jacket.
I always played on like little TV trays,
I did that too.
which was actually a problem when I finally got the Konami arcade style controller, and then I was like, how do I even fit this? Like, I'd have to put like a rubber mat down and then just like lay it like center on the TV tray and hope it didn't wobble too much.
When I first got my Pop in ASC, I would play with it like straddled in between my legs. So
God, dog.
Oh, what did you get? Which one did you get?
I got a desktop arcade back in like 2005.
Yeah.
I got it relatively cheap, but yeah, so like I would sit down, my legs spread wide out, and put the big ass controller in between my legs.
I was trying to vision it. Like,
But well, like I was a gymnast growing up, so I'm relatively flexible. But I like looking back on it, I realized it probably looked ridiculous.
see, and this is going back to the main basic of that conversation, just being comfortable. You know, just finding your own way to play the game. No, I'm kidding. I
actually legitimately don't know if I could play a Pop in CS like standing up.
To be clear, I do not endorse playing prone. I don't do that anymore. There is a definite wall you hit playing prone.
Yo, I'm never forgetting this, Kevin, dude.
Hey, I missed. How did you have the Papa controller? You were sitting, and how was it again?
Sitting with my legs like spread wide out.
Yeah,
and then like the entire controller kind of
being in between it, right?
In front of me, in between my legs.
That's exactly what I did.
Oh my gosh, y'all are...
Yeah, I either had a Ransai or a desktop arcade, but it wasn't labeled as it was just black, but it was clearly a Ransai or desktop arcade, and that was the only way to do it. It wouldn't move if you did it that way, and if you put it anywhere else, it would move. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this.
So I just posted a photo of not Course K playing 9 style with the towel mod.
Wow, that's a thin towel, fam. That thing ain't working.
That was
I don't even remember this picture.
That was what was it?
It's not a towel, it's a scarf.
It was a scarf that he had for.
Oh, there you...
It was right after filming the "She Is My Wife" parody video. We went back to "That's My Apartment," and we yeah.
It's a little bit darker.
Can you make a sequel video called "That Is My Apartment"?
So that was John Hannafin's ASC.
Yeah, I sold all my CS stuff, so that was mine at one point.
But I think this is a good point to talk about. We mentioned random earlier. We can talk about mods. So, really, the most controversial mod in the entirety of 2DX is random. I mean, clearly, we could talk about auto scratch. We could talk about 5-key mode, but really, random, I think, is the source of some of the most heated discussions in 2DX.
I don't even use random, and I tell you, use random. Like, just use it. There you go. It's the end of the discussion.
just do it.
I think to parallel it over to, if you don't mind, I'm gonna. I have a really short-term memory. I'm sorry, but Pump It Up. They don't have VJ timing, like automatic or whatever it's called. They don't have tighter timing, so a lot of the players don't turn it on because Pump doesn't tell them to turn it on. So I think Konami doesn't tell players, hey, use random. So it already sets people up to think, hey, that's cheating. Just like using bar. The game doesn't tell you to use a bar.
I knew bar was going to come out at some point.
It had to, right? Like, that's...
Yeah. That is the craziest shit. When I hear that bar shit, is the craziest shit ever.
Don't get me started on that. Oh my god.
All right, so my feeling is this, and I think most of the people in the room share this feeling. If you use it and the game saves your score, it's valid, right?
It's definitely valid.
And so
Yeah.
I mean, that can extend even to like the bar on DDR. Just the fact that you're touching.
Actually, does it save your score if you use the bar in DDR?
It saves the score when you use the bar. Yes.
Random or S random. Those are really hard. You don't know it.
They save.
S random.
I love S random.
S random for some.
So Cho, what's your thought on random? Like, what do you feel? How do you feel about random? Just regular random.
Just regular random?
Yeah.
Recent series has a really good normal non-random charts that comes to just non-random charts. Sometimes it would be good for scoring recently. In the past parts, the very old songs charts, definitely random's better. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. So you're saying the chart quality is better?
Yeah. Nowadays, it does. That quality has got better. Much got better. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm kind of curious to know what the Asian communities think about, like, our debate, quote unquote debate, in North America about it. Like, how do Koreans and Japanese think about random?
Everyone there use random?
Yeah, that's what my assumption would be. And if you told them like there was a debate, what would they think about that?
Silly Americans.
Yep, maybe
they don't really care. I brought it up. I mean, I asked because I wanted to know when I was getting embedded in a community in Uijeongbu, and when I was going to Seoul and playing for a little bit, and they honestly don't give a damn. They all mostly use random, except for a very specific few on certain songs. That's just the way I see it.
I'm actually really curious to know if the Asian community feels modding a pad or modding the machine would be worse than what we're talking about right now. So like, oh, you modded the machine, those scores don't count.
So okay, well, we can kind of segue.
Yeah,
well, it's DDR, but it's also key configurations, right? So like, and we can sort of segue into this topic now that we're talking about it. But like back in the day, we had what we had. People weren't picky. You saw the 2DX machine in the arcade and you liked the game, you're gonna play it, right? Like, oh my God, how often do you see these? Now with like the proliferation of home versions and DJ DAO controllers, and now round ones are actually opening in the Americas. There's been a lot of talk about like key and switch configurations, right? So Sanwa is like the main manufacturer of the button that's used on 2DX, and then Omron makes the switch typically. So like in a stock machine, if you were to buy one directly from Konami, you would get Omrons and Sanwas. And they have certain weights associated with them. But there is a lot of discussion about different combinations of how thick should my spring be, how much resistance should my spring have, or what type of key should I put in there. I think it's a little silly, but like, what do you guys think? Like, is there merit to talking about key weights and strings and all that, and why?
Yep, player preference. It all comes down to player preference, in my opinion. That's the easiest way to put it. I mean, lighter keys. Now there is science to it, because try hitting jacks on a light ass setup or like a springless setup. Try hitting jacks on a setup like that, where hitting jacks on 100 is easy. Because the key, is popping back up so much quicker. So I mean, there's two sides to see it. There's a personal preference side, and then the actual like, oh no shit, if I actually play it, there's no way I could hit a 12 generally on this light of a setup. That's why people like to sit in like that 50-60 range and a little bit lighter.
What's your home setup?
My home setup is 50-60.
50-60. Okay.
Yep. And
I put cardboard in my KOC.
Yeah, buddy. Why did you do that?
I don't know. I saw on the internet that made you better.
Well, so it decreased the amount of force you needed to apply to get the button pressed down so it would actuate.
Yeah.
So essentially, it allowed you to be able to hit patterns faster if you can move that quick, rather than having that's what kind of like key setups like wait in switch set or switch and whatever setups, man.
Now, to be fair, I only ever modded my KOC to keep the keys from sticking because that was a huge problem.
Yeah,
on
that
KOC.
was actually I think that's probably why I did initially too.
But I mean, like competitive standard is all on AC, so I think that like talking about modding keys, I mean, it's really no modding. It's all just replacement.
Yeah. I mean, you get all those parts all over the place, and a switch is going out. Well,
You know what's funny? And I just found out about this. This has apparently been a thing for a while. BMS players use towel. That's what I was told.
Mhm.
And I said to myself, towel? Like, why use towel? You have sudden plus. Like, what difference does it make? It's not towel like putting a towel over the monitor or putting it over the TV. It's literally putting a towel on top of your controller to, I guess, reduce the amount of sound from the key taps.
Yes, and I can attest to that because when I was in tech school in Mississippi, I played that. I played using a towel over a little washcloth over my keys, and it dampened the sound. But there's really no relevancy other than that, in my opinion. And also, if your LEDs are bright as hell, maybe it dampens the LED coming from the key.
Right.
It's kind of interesting because there's one BMS player, I think it's like Modi3 Kanon or something. He uses a towel on a KOC, which doesn't even make all that much noise in the first place.
No, and that's what I've seen. Like that's exactly what I'm talking about. I've seen people on KOCs playing BMS, which is like the simulator. People make these crazy charts and all that stuff, custom songs, and they'll cover the controller with the towel, and it's just like I've heard it's to reduce key travel distance. I heard it's increases sensitivity.
I don't know, man.
Exactly. Like it's just like sound. I guess makes sense. It's kind of similar to what people used to do with popping controllers, where they would stuff their controller with like T-shirts and stuff to dampen the switch sound.
They were so loud.
Ridiculously loud. But okay.
Is Onmitsu cheating?
And you get a terrible score, so not really.
I mean, again, right? So, like, I personally would see it as a crutch, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I just fucking passed this hard ass 12. Hell yeah, I'm gonna use it. Like.
I was thinking about that because of Rage Against Usual getting mentioned.
Where's that video? Hold on, John. Do you have that video handy?
Not quickly. But yeah, I guess for people who may not know, Onmitsu is a term coined from it was a 5-key player, I think, who's named Onmitsu, who did the technique first.
It took us forever to figure that out. You remember that?
Yeah, I was Googling to try and figure out where that came from. But
like, what does Onmitsu mean?
Yeah, it's like, this is like just a dish. What's going on? No, it's like a player, a 5-key player, like who played back in the day, named Onmitsu, did it first. Was at least discredited with it first. Where you use the timing to try and get like early goods on some note on the notes, the earlier notes, and late goods on I guess it's the other way. Late goods on the early notes and early goods on the late notes, and try and just hit chords to get streams.
Here's an example. I'll go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
So it's funny, apparently this is controversial, yet for Valkyrie Dimensions run in DDR, it's like just bracket the shit out of it and hope you get goods.
But this isn't like hoping, this is like a very calculated, like you figure out ways to do it.
Like people will write out a chart that you can follow along or whatever. So like instead of looking at the actual scrolling screen, you're like, well, here's what I'm supposed to do. Hit these specific chords in this order.
So it's kind of an exploit of the game engine, right?
I would say it's an exploit, but I mean, like, since you get a bunch of goods which give you 0 EX score, like your score suffers. So I mean, it's kind of hard to call it cheating.
I think it's
you might get a clear or a full combo at most.
Yep, and that's what I was going to definitely say. I was like, so the scoring portion of it,
It's a great exploit until you start to hit things within the next window, or maybe it registers the next window and you start to bad chain. I don't know if you guys know what bad chaining is, but basically it's when your windows kind of overlap. So you kind of late good at a note, but then it was so late good, it kind of registered the next note. So you can't hit the next note on time or at all. It'll just bad it. So everything just goes bad because you're already like hitting the next one. It's actually really silly how it has that in 2DX, but Pop-In doesn't have that.
That does happen in Drummania, though.
Interesting.
If you want to see like
it happens a lot on scratch, like heavy scratch stuff.
like one of my favorite examples of Anmitsu is if you watch Tatsu playing Eyes on a Pop-In controller. He FCs it, but he Anmitsu's almost the entire song.
Yeah, Pop-In is very common for Anmitsu, especially on those harder songs.
As
Like-
you all know that DJ Silent is the best Anmitsu player, and he full combo all of DP charts. And I think it's now as one of skills, the very important skill for full combo players. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of necessary on doubles charts to full combo to be able to Anmitsu. There's a lot of very unreasonable stuff on doubles.
Stupid.
Yeah, and definitely what Cho just said is another thing that I'm sure that we should probably get into a little bit later is the fact that there's like the different types of players. Because he said specifically for full combo players, you know, there's going to be a lot of different groups of individuals who seek to play different or to play this game in a different way. Accuracy, overall clears, full combos, whatnot, you know. So
yeah, because I was about to say like Anmitsu, I don't care too much about it because like it gives you a terrible score. Like it's
because you get goods. Yeah.
I don't try to admit to because I care about my accuracy because I like to get AAAs. So I don't, you know.
I haven't even heard the term before. I guess I'm like the pinnacle of it because I have a full combo with an F.
Wait, what? Excuse. I guess it's not crazy. I've seen that. I've seen people passing songs with like F, E, F, or whatever low score.
It's easy to do on Gamble Hyper. That's how I got it. I had a very consistent latency on my monitor, didn't adjust lag, and I got good on almost every single note. So I got a full combo with an F.
Right. No.
Actually, a friend of mine did that on Beatmania US on Quasar.
Quasar wasn't in Beatmania US.
It wasn't on Beatmania US? Then I guess it was Night Style. They're the same interface practically, so yeah.
I mean, I just play for fun. Like, so, you know, Daisuke comes up, I'm going to do the arm rolls. Metal Gear Solid thing comes up, I'm back to playing prone.
I like to play with gloves. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I heard that was the new hotness.
No.
I thought we agreed not to mention that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
I
Mention
guess
what?
you could say that Anmitsu helps if you're a clearer.
Oh my God!
But only if you're a clearer. All right.
Somehow.
Shout outs to Portugal. All right, so I'm going to talk about very briefly. Well, I'm going to pose the question: who is the best artist in 2DX?
Tasty Taka.
Oh no.
Good Cool is Master of House.
Good Cool.
Like,
I mean,
realistically,
Akuda made Mira.
Wait,
so.
guys.
Sean the Horny Master.
Thank you.
Is this opinion or is this like musical theory or what are we doing here?
Yo, man. However you want to frame it, who is the best artist?
Good question. It's like
Oh yeah, that's right. We've completely forgot about Slake. How could we not say Slake?
There's a lot of really good artists that over the years, and it's you can sort of chalk it up by era too, right? Like
I really like
Slake was
Ram.
really good in the early days because that's when he really was making music, and then, like now there are no new Slake songs in 2DX, and there's other people that are sort of at the top, I'd say. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What was that?
I really like Ram, and even I Want to Party.
I love I Want to Party. I don't know
Yeah,
why
that's a good song.
I shit on it so much.
It's not as typical RAM though as a lot of their other stuff, I feel. But yeah.
I'm more of a Y and Co kind of guy, mostly because all their hypers are right in my wheelhouse, and they all have pyro routines, so gotta know those.
Something I've noticed a long time ago is when games would come out, you were anticipating the artist's songs, and they were, oh man, they're making the next greatest song from this artist, and you were like, yeah, hell, this is great. New sampling masters, a new Slake song, a new Taka song. I feel like that's not generally what's going on today. I think now it's just let's just put a new song out.
Yeah.
No, I'd argue against that actually, because
Yeah.
Wait, are you gonna say something?
No, it's okay. Like, argue against it. I want to hear it.
No, I sound like John. Is that you, John Hamm?
No, not me.
Who was saying that? Who was saying yeah just a minute ago?
Oh, it was me. No, I was just agreeing
Oh, okay.
with what you were saying, Cyber.
Well, okay, so, and I think most people inherently know this. I had a discussion with somebody about it not that long ago. But really, like, the alias is, if you think about it, it's a composer, yeah, sure, but it's a kit of parts. It's like a sound, a specific sound, right? And so whenever you say a DJ Taka sound or Tasty Taka, it's a very specific.
Is that a thing?
It's a thing in our Discord.
It's a thing on our Discord.
Okay.
Or Taku, yeah, like these artists, they're artists by virtue of the instruments that they used to make their music, and and Konami does that, I think, very intentionally, so that people can get attached to specific artists. Yeah, look at that score. So that people can then anticipate. Okay, if I know I like Nekomata Master, so if I see him in the next game, I'll probably play his song first because I know that I generally enjoy his music.
Agree.
And so, that said, Cho will tell you that it doesn't matter what you play, it doesn't matter your tasty. You should always play.
As long as it's Taka.
You should always play DJ Taka songs because that's what's going to make you the best.
If you want to get better.
I mean, Borkin's a good song to play if you want to learn beginning density on 12s.
Yeah, and I noticed that a long time ago, Konami obviously intentionally does this. Exactly what you were saying, where each artist kind of has their own style, and you're like, oh, that's a DJ Taka song. But they filled a niche. So when a new artist came out that filled a different niche that wasn't there before, it was either really good or really bad sometimes. So Slake definitely had a niche that was like, he was the interesting experimental guy. Then you'd have Ram who'd be like, okay, well, he's kind of still like Beatmania. It's like more fun. And then you might have the trance guy, like Kobo was trance before drum and bass. You have the trance guy.
Kobo.
Yeah. I think they're slowly getting back to that. I noticed in Cinebuzz that they are putting a lot of multiple different genres in, which personally I think was their effort to not oversaturate the market and to see what people are really playing. To then obviously give us whatever Cannonballers is now. I think this is what people's genres were playing. But you can slowly see that each, like Zyber was saying, the artist does give a sound. I'll just end it there.
Well, I
didn't really have it. Yeah,
it gives you a sound that's like relatable that you can expect. Okay, they're probably going to do X or Y.
And I think a great recent example of that is Hummer. Like, all of his stuff is just so good.
Yep.
And it's pretty different too.
Oh yeah.
Huser.
And you guys play UB.
Probably the best of the newest artists, I'd say.
Yeah. See, and I think I came down. I mean, my favorite recent artist would definitely be Malzahn. That's just
Malzahn.
Also a good choice.
Malzahn to me is nuts, man. Yeah. Oh, Toto. Toto is fucking amazing. Oh my god, man. See, I'm just out of it.
Yeah, I would think Toto is like.
Beat, please.
We're talking about 2DX, Joe. We'll have a reflect beat.
Like Toto. You like Toto, then play Reflect Beat.
I like Totos.
So you were saying
you like Hummer, then play U-Beat.
You beat.
So you were saying you like Toto, John Hamm, right? John.
Yes.
Yeah. So what songs of
Sorry.
his do you like?
All of them.
Good answer.
Do you have a favorite?
Theme of Recerca is really good in Sound Tech. Nostalgia. But I don't know. Chaser XX is super good. Echidna is really
That's
good.
Hummer.
Oh, who are we talking about?
Huber.
We're not talking about him?
We're talking about Toto.
Toto, sorry. I didn't really like his first stuff when he started in 2DX. What was it like? I didn't really care for like Gravigazer and what was the stuff in Tricoro?
Tricoro. Well, he was in Spada, Pendula,
I think like
Kakura.
Adularia.
Adularia was a Spada song, which
Yeah,
I like that song.
that was I think like the starting point for me to start really liking him. And then he's done a great job with like Dornwald.
Yes.
And then Backspin Sweepers, super good.
Toto, it's funny. Like Toto's a little bit more varied than the typical artist because he also did the Funcot song. He did Insomnia and
Yes, Insomnia
and Fantastic
Yeah, did he
3.
do the rock song too?
Is it the code one? No, that's a different song. Code
No.
one was,
What is that rock song that was part of that event? The collaboration events.
Oh, he did a song
Back in-
with Akuta.
Nine?
Akuta, he did.
Yeah. No, not that one. Shoot, I'll look it up. But,
did he do like 9 with Taka? Or is that someone else?
I'm thinking of a song that came in Tricoro, but it was a cross-platform event. It was like the one with Elemental Creation was in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Momani Gakuen then, right?
Yeah. Do you remember that rock song? It was
That was
that-
second Toto and Akuta, right?
There's a song
No,
called Guilty Destruction, but that was a Reflect Beak song.
No, Akuta made a song with OJ. Toto, I think, made like I can see it in my head. It like slows down and then it gets really hard. The ending is really dense, but I'll go check on.
Baranga?
I'm sorry?
Baranga? Balanga.
Maybe.
Valanga.
It's not Balanga.
Balanga is not a rock song.
Stolty. Wasn't that Toto?
That was with Max Maximizer and DJ Toto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Crispy and Toto.
That's High Radicus. Maximizer and no. The Maximizer and Toto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was Stolte.
that's Stolte. Yeah, you're thinking Stolte.
Yeah, Stolte. Right.
By the way, when did Koezuka start using OJ as an alias? That just sort of snuck up on me.
He's been doing that for a minute.
Yeah, but he's such a good artist.
So I think we like Toto. People have been mentioning in the chat Usao. Usao's great. He's very people call call him the meme.
niche.
He's
He fits the niche.
Yeah, he's falling off my radar. He's feeling that.
I thought
Usao
Freedom
has,
was
like,
really good.
You
Some
like
good
memes
songs and
though.
some not so good songs.
I think realistically, the best artist is Course K. Like, just realistically.
Yeah, Course K is great.
I can't really argue against that. Korsuke is really, really
I
good.
always definitely look for Korsuke songs when I play like any 2DX. Like in a new style comes out, I'm like, well, what did Korsuke do in this? And generally, I like it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I definitely.
No, I think
Enjoy.
that's a fair thing to say because I think most of us. I mean, I like Korsuke. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, and I remember when he came out with that Traces remix, and it's like, dang, here's that one guy who did that one song a long time ago. He's back. How cool. But now he's like a legend. He's so awesome.
Soda Hujimori.
So Soda's pretty good too. That one. Well, speaking of which, there's a collab that Soda and Korsuke did in at the very end of Cinebuzz. It's really great. Was it Cyber True Color? I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
That song is awesome. I like that song a lot. I think
that whole album is good. I would highly recommend listening to it.
So yes, it's a very good album. So like if I think Soda and Taka to me are very similar, except Taka doesn't know how to write music and Soda knows how to write music.
I'm actually really confused. You say Taka doesn't know how to write music, but I find his things really, 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 really catchy after listening to it a couple times. So I don't. This is a joke, right?
Well, okay. So there's a level of atonality in a lot of Taka compositions, right? And if you've heard like DJ Taka's earliest stuff, like I don't know, hip hop paradise or gradually cyber, like he has a
small waves.
Okay.
He has a almost like a baseball stadium style of
Final
music.
countdown.
Like he's more concerned with gameplay. DJ Taka
Yes.
is.
Yes.
I think his charts are specifically written to be like the most challenging charts, hence Tasty Taka. And if it's like Cho said, like if you wanted to get good at the game, if you got good at Taka charts, you could probably handle most of, a good portion of the game. And I'm including stuff like the extra stages and like the boss songs he did under other aliases and stuff. I think Sota Fujimori, and I've said this to other people before, I think he is a really great like performer. Like his musical theory is down packed, and there's plenty of videos of him playing synths online and him playing around with musical instruments and stuff like that. I think like arguably he's one of the better like people who are he's good at composition because he knows how music works.
Agree.
And so like Taka's more concerned about like making hard charts and stuff like that. Sota on the other hand is like, okay, he went to Berkeley. That's like a fun fact, right? Like Berkeley out in Chicago, or not Chicago. What am I talking about? In Massachusetts. So it's like I've always felt that Sota Fujimori, like even though a lot of his stuff is kind of samey, similar to how Taka's stuff is samey, I tend to like Sota stuff more because I know that there's actual like thought behind his composition and how he composes his music and stuff.
Sota is the riff master, man. He is the riff master.
Absolutely, I agree.
I think you can lump in some other of the in-house composers with those two camps. Like I would say probably Nekomata Master, when he started taking over some of the song producer, or not song producer, but like lead producer roles. A lot of his songs were like super hard 12s, especially in Spada and Pendule.
Right.
And they all had his, they had his like signature synths and stuff, but it was like super freaking hard.
If I can jump in, I want to piggyback on that in a way where I agree. I think Nekomata's songs definitely were being made to be hard, but I kind of see Taka more as he was making these songs that it seems like people don't like it originally, but then once you start to play it, you have so much fun with it that you do like it, and then it's so memorable, and you want to go back and play it. Whereas not all the Nekomata songs, even though they're great songs and I can actually just listen to them, I don't necessarily go out of my way to be like, yeah, I want to play that now. They're all kind of sounding the samey to me, but that's just me personally.
And samey isn't necessarily a bad thing if you like the music, right? Like it's not awful.
Yeah, if you like Dragon Force's one song, man, that's the band for you.
Does anyone like DJ Yoshitaka, Mr. 185?
I do.
It's the magic.
No.
The magic of 185.
Yo, shit, Taka. Yeah, man.
Hey man,
I
I'm dedicated to playing Flower in everything it shows up in.
I actually like Yoshitaka because I briefly played on UV too.
He's not composing much. He got an upgrade now. He's not composing much lately. Like I think he's got a promotion in Konami, and like he's busy with like the business side of things. But yeah, like there was a time when he was introduced. The story that I heard was that Yoshitaka was discovered by like Naoki in like a club or something late at night, and then that's how he started working with Konami. And like his early music, like his really really early music, was just like really slow jam R&B stuff.
What about Venus music? Venus with Soto.
Oh, whoa, Venus. That was Yoshitaka's gay phase. It was
Everyone has one of those.
His bike.
Send the picture of
curious.
him in the outfit.
Which one? The Venus outfit?
Oh, wait, no, hold on. Let me find it. It was like he had like a really long hair or something.
Oh yeah, when he first started out, that was like 2DX Red. That was like not Red. That was the 10th anniversary around Distorted, I believe. Yoshitaka had really long hair, and he was just this guy.
Yeah.
Like who the hell? He's DJ Yoshitaka scratching guy. Like...
Imagine going to
that wasn't Red because that was Close My Eyes for me, right?
Yeah, Close My, like imagine going to a club and this is the guy you saw and you thought to yourself, this is the future of Konami music.
This is the future of Konami.
Right there, this guy right here. He's holding up the sign.
Is that Ryan Henson?
No, that's Yoshi. that's Yoshi. That's Yoshitaka.
I was just kidding.
Shout outs to Codemaster. He's not here with us. Oh man, but yeah, like
So-
he helped Tomosuke compose Almagest, right? Like that's an accomplishment.
Caldera.
Yeah,
I mean, just like
know,
I can give Taka a lot of shit, and I can give Yoshitaka a lot of shit. There's gonna be songs that I like from both
Literally.
of them.
Almost and that song. Takishimete.
Yeah, Inferno. Yeah, I liked Inferno. That was a good song.
I'm surprised nobody brought up Ryu Star.
You know, he's solid, right? Like I don't. Well, the joke with
Ryu's
I
a
would say
one-trick
he was
pony.
solid in the way that he's middle of the road.
yeah,
Like,
Sakura
There's
is
a lot of stuff I don't like. There is stuff
Honestly-
from Ryu that I think is amazing, and he'll never make it again, like In Motion. But like, I don't know.
he's found that high speed niche of dragon music. Like that's his thing. He does now.
But he's more of a businessman, right? Like, doesn't he run Exit Tunes, the label?
He does. Yeah, that's his
Businessman.
that's his baby.
I think Konami keeping him around is probably just better off, just so they can have the connection of having that label.
This whole conversation reminds me of when it was a couple weeks ago during the golf tournament. It was me, Jahan, Bill, and who else was with us? And we watched the Name That Erotic song.
Oh my god, they're all the same.
They are.
Nice.
Yeah, JT made shout outs to our last episode. JT made that Name That Erotic Song video, and it starts every single time you pick the song clip. It was right at that like percussion into the into synth moment. That's in every
Yeah.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. All right.
That's it.
I'll just unless someone else is already looking it up, I'll post the video. I think I have it here.
Yeah, go for it.
But you know, Yoshitaka, he really sucked, man. When he first came out. Like, God, he just killed 2DX. Like, he made everything about that game
please.
suck.
Okay, no. I'm not the biggest Yoshitaka fan, but when he started producing the styles, like being the producer, I will say that the games got really cool. Like as far as like the progression and the extra stage stuff, he was responsible for Gold, but he was also responsible for Troopers. Like people question like what the heck, like what are you doing with this? But then like the extra stage systems in those games were like really like unique to 2DX.
Right.
Because before it was
Especially,
just like
VIP room and military splash.
Yeah.
Really,
What? Oh my god.
That's pretty good.
so like I could totally see him being like the guy that was like, yo, what if we freaking put assault rifles in 2DX and you have to fight bosses and they float in the screen, like he was like totally the idea man. Like
Well, think about this, right? They were probably already developing Troopers when Gold came out, and we were having that Gold location test. Remember at Brunswick Zone?
yeah, I remember that.
So it's possible that maybe they were thinking of an international release, possibly. And America loves guns, and we love Walmart and fast food. So, of course, make a gun theme game. Because what if Gold worked? Then we would have Troopers, and then that would make more money. It's totally just
actually,
a thought.
I can say that actually lines up pretty well. To go back to what I shell for, Guitar Freaks and Drummania, when they did the V4 location test at the same Brunswick Zone, you could really tell that V5 was very much geared towards an American audience. They had like Hocus Pocus, a lot of
That's the one with
Western
the Americans,
licenses.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so like V5, like, and that's the one that didn't, because like you can kind of tell it was kind of probably the same thing where they were hoping for maybe an American release on the next one, so they were planning for it. So that kind of really does line up.
It makes sense. I hadn't even really considered that, but yeah, it does kind of make sense when you think about it.
They actually do make their pushes kind of transparent, because like with Dance Rush, it's not in the United States, but it has English, and it has Justin Bieber in it. Like, they're
Actually,
trying.
guys, Dance Rush just dropped today at round 1.
Yep.
Yeah. Time to live up to my name.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're expecting it here pretty soon too.
If you guys get a Dance Rush poster somehow, send it my way.
Wow.
They should be on Jab.
Wow.
All right. So I think that will round up our artist discussion. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good discussion.
That's pretty good. We're gonna wrap up with dotphase. We've got a couple things I wanted to cover with him. He is, I think, arguably the best player in Georgia. One of the only players to reach Kaiden, even in Cannonballers, right?
Yeah.
Although you got that in Korea while you were there.
Yeah.
But either way, he got it. And there is a very interesting story with dotphase about the very first time he got Kaiden. What was the very first time he got Kaiden?
Very first time I got Kaiden was it was like May 11th, 2016.
Well, and what was the style?
The style was Pendulum.
Pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
So the story that whenever I introduce dotphase to people, if I just happen to be with him, I like to bring up the fact that he had been playing for a while, and then there was an unfortunate incident. Do you want to tell just some of the details about what happened?
Yeah, sure. So this is I've been playing the game since I was 11. Joined the Air Force, moved over to England, and this is just to kind of preface the stories to kind of give an understanding of what happened, what was going through my head. I stopped playing during the time frame of when I joined the Air Force for about 4 years. Well, when I got to England, I got introduced back into 2DX by the great community over there, and my wife and family, we PCS'd over to Georgia, Hinesville, Georgia. So we lived in England for 4 years. My wife is British, so we didn't believe. Well, it's not like we didn't believe in firearms. So we didn't have a firearm because in England, you don't have a firearm. Well, one morning. And this is when I was really taking 2DX to the next level. I was playing a lot more harder stuff, and I was doing Kaiden attempt runs, trying to get Kaiden before MomoCon. This group of about 4 kids, I think. Later we found out their ages were, I think, like ranging 14 to 16. Rang my doorbell on Easter Sunday at 5 a.m, and my wife woke up. And she looked at the people and got me up, and she was like, I don't know what's going on. There's these kids at the... So immediately, my idea coming from England is when you see kids at streets at around that time, like, what's going on? Something's up with them. So, I open the garage. Well, first I look out the window to see what they're doing, and I notice they're starting to break into other people's cars. I'm like, oh shit. Well, I noticed this, like, what do I do now? So my dumbass, I open up the garage, I walk out, and next thing you know, the kids confront me just about a street light away. We were standing at one street light, I'm sitting at the other street light, and I just simply spat off. I'm like, hey, I was like, you guys rang my doorbell at 5 a.m, what's going on? And derogatory statements came out, which led to easily just a kid turning around and shooting a .22, and a bullet went through my right shoulder. And since then, a bunch of details happened after that. I was sent to the hospital, of course. But when I got back to the house, it was the following day. It was so everything happened on my daughter's birthday and Easter Sunday. The following day was our wedding anniversary between my wife and myself. And I thought I was done playing 2DX forever. I wasn't going to be touching this shit ever again. I got home, I looked at my 2DX controller, and I just broke the fuck down. Like, I thought I was completely done. Not going to play this, until, they gave me Percocets. And they're like, yeah, don't come into work. You're going to be a potato. Just chill at the house. Well, they let me stay off of work for like a month. And about after the first week, when my shoulders started to gain a little bit more movement back, I told my wife, I was like, fuck it. Like, I love this game so much. I want to keep playing it. I got back into this game because I love this damn game. The music's incredible. And within the time frame of about April when I was playing, I was using it actually as physical therapy. I nailed Kaiden for the first time ever May 11th. Just after getting shot, you know, taking that month off and everything else, and yeah, and then we, you know, met up at MomoCon and hung out with the dudes.
So
Yeah,
It's hardcore.
So the story is this man got shot and then passed Kaiden.
and the thing about it is the bullet was a through and through, and it was a 22, and it was incredibly close to some extremities. Like this shit could have put me out, like for sure.
Yeah.
So
the bullet went through your right shoulder.
Yes, my right shoulder. So
Are you a one player or two player?
1P.
Ah, well, that's why.
Yep. So I mean, and yeah, it's an incredible story. I remember when I got Kaiden. I'm not too sure if it was on stream or not, but I freaked out. Like, I almost broke my damn sliding glass door outside to like scream to my wife. Like, I ran outside. I was like, I fucking did it. She's like, no way. And like, what the craziest thing is, I went to the bathroom and I agitated the actual gunshot wound, and I was bleeding through the bandage. And I was like, shit. And I just cracked open another beer, and I was like, all right. Fucking going, dude.
Guinness World Record for most metal Kaiden pass ever.
So yeah, I mean, like, since then, you know, I finally got like my legit. Because I mean, this was on, you know, what everybody knew as P-Sun back then. But so what was it, P-Sun? No, Arcana or whatever the fuck it was. You know, whatever. But I actually got my first AC like legit Kaiden clear when I went to South Korea just recently on Cannonballers with 80%, which was nice.
Which is really good, yeah.
Yeah, which was nice.
So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. If you get shot, you can potentially pass Kaiden.
That was a huge deal. I MomoCon, and like straight up Cyber's just like, yo, what's up? Like, what did you say? I forgot what you said, man.
I've told the story so many different ways. It's like,
Fighting powers.
I want you to meet my friend dotphase. This man played 2DX and got shot. That's how I explain the story. So
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, every single time you talk to somebody, you're like immediately like cut off the conversation. You're like, you want to get Kaiden? It's like, get shot. Like, that's it. Get shot. Get shot.
Don't even say get shot. Just pull out a gun and says, you know it has to happen.
It has to happen. 22 caliber. Let me see your shoulder.
Does anybody remember that movie Rookie of the Year?
Mm-hmm.
So it's got this kid that gets in an accident or something. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but he hurt his shoulder and he goes to the doctor, and then like for whatever reason it like changed his tendons, and he has this like lightning fast pitch all of a sudden. So I think that's what happened.
Well, this is a little bit touchy. I mean, like, yeah, shit does suck. Like, yeah, obviously. Suck. Like, I mean, I don't play this game like I used to be able to play it. Like, by far, I struggle a lot harder than I used to. I just really leave it to the fact of like enjoying the game for what it is in the music and trying to make myself better by accuracy. You know, getting better scores and testing myself, which keeps me to the game. But I can't play as much as I used to anymore, and I actually get pain now. You know, and it's 2018. You know, and but you know, I'm claiming disability for it and stuff. And I mean, not only did this put a, you know, kind of a difficulty on playing the game, but a lot of other things came from getting shot that kind of cut me from the game for a little bit. So like the whole playing experience is completely different now, you know. Mm-hmm. and just trying to like follow up with the game constantly and keep trucking on with it. Because I think it's getting to the point that if I don't feel myself getting physically better in the next, like, by the next release, I'm probably going to retire. I'm done, because it's just it's not getting any better. You know, it's kind of sad to say it's not getting any better, but yeah.
Well, hey man, I mean, you know, thank God you're alive. That's
yeah, man.
That's the biggest thing for sure. And you know, I only tell the story in jest. You know, it's just because you're still here and we can joke about it. You know, it's
absolutely,
it's kind of funny in retrospect. You know, that type of thing. So
absolutely.
Does anybody else have any questions for Dot? He is a Kaiden after all.
Are you a Kaiden in actual judo?
Not even close, dude.
Okay.
Do you use the gorilla finger grip training?
But what?
You know those finger strengtheners?
Yes, I do. I actually have one on my desk right now. I'm using it.
Did you get the one with the gorilla though? Because I think that's what you need for Kaiden.
But I just got one that says Grip Master on it. Medium tension. I wish I had the gorilla one though.
Buy a gorilla one for Cho so he can use the right cab.
Hey Dot, you were the guy who was agreeing with me about the DG Troopers possibly being troopers because of American release or an international release.
That was me.
Yeah, it was John.
Okay, then I'll save my comment for another time.
Okay. Yeah, we're planning on. Well, John gave me a good idea for another show, maybe in the future. We can do a defend your game segment where you talk about it. I say defend your game, but you can talk about like what makes your game fun. John he has called himself the Gitadora shill.
I was going to say John versus the world with Guitar Freaks.
Dude, that game's good, whatever. And I got work with me. I got some other people.
Hey, yeah. Don't forget, man. I'm the lieutenant. His commander.
Session mode. You got the session mode discussion over here. So yeah, we can do another show maybe in the future talking
Super
about
Session's where it's at though.
You gotta find me that Keyboard Mania machine, man.
That's true. Yeah, I'm still looking. Ryan.
Okay, man. So, oh yeah, what's up?
I was gonna say you might know some Keyboard Mania machines for sale. Let me know.
Okay, not anymore, man. The last Keyboard Mania that got sold was like 6 or 7 years ago. I think I purchased it and then I sold it again. I haven't seen one since. There was an arcade that was maybe like 50 miles away. They opened up and we're like, we need to sell all of our games because we're stupid, and we opened an arcade. They had like, no joke, they had like 10 Beatmanias, a Keyboard Mania, and the Beatmania sold for $50 each, which ended up at Eddie's house. It was just a mess, but there's really nobody with a Keyboard Mania over here anymore. I can maybe source one if someone's looking. They just have to DM me, and then I can look.
Yeah, we'll talk after.
I'm not looking that seriously. It needs to be cheap. I'm not looking to get a Keyboard Mania in my house. What am I going to do with it at price?
It's basically for a meme. Like,
it's a great game. Honestly, I love playing it.
I just want a Super Session. That's the whole thing.
I have 2 controllers.
All right, guys. Well, I think
I find me a Firebeat stack, and then we'll just.
We're talking about Gitadora. It's time to wrap up the 2DX.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up. Unless you guys got something to say.
We do have one final special release, I believe, for this podcast, which is a very for those of you who like playing 2DX. We have a very special version of the Safari.
That's right.
Oh.
All right, so Kevin put a lot of work into it. Kevin's like our resident memester.
I only do high effort.
Amazing.
You got to watch this. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yo, when did this drop?
Just now.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we were trying to like get this in chart form to you, but I don't think it worked out. So this was the next best thing to do. So.
Yep, I'm spamming this in the Beatmania IIDX Discussion.
You need to list this. Why is this unlisted?
Because it was a surprise. Yeah, it was a surprise.
Oh I can unlist it now.
Oh my god. Now let me ask you, is this a good chart?
Fuck no, I had trouble figuring out where to put all these notes. There's 250 extra notes of him yelling random crap, and I didn't know where to put them.
Scratches, man.
There's only one, which is a black scratch while asking you to hit like 5 other notes.
I like the hold note, the charge note.
Only level 11.
I moved it to 12 in actual release after I made this video, because after I tried playing it, like, I have a good way of telling what the ranking is. 10 is, I should be able to pass it, but I can't. 11, I can read it, and 12, I have no fucking idea what's going on.
That's a good way.
I do have a question for Dot. It's kind of a generic question, but is there any questions that you wish we could ask you that you could answer?
Nah.
Is there anything that you actually want to get out, but no one's asking you about it? Like, oh, I know about this thing. Let me tell you.
No, honestly, no. I mean, anything about 2DX related. If there's any questions about anything, I mean, like, best scores, whatever. I mean, I can just drop whatever.
Well, because this is like Dot Power Hour right now, so I just.
Yeah, you did prepare some screenshots of your scores, right?
Oh yes, some of the stuff. I mean, I used to have a batch on my old computer, but that broke.
You want to plug your stream?
Actually, I got a quick question for you, Dot. Have you ever thought about playing doubles, or do you play doubles at all?
So I tried when I was in Korea, and I am looking towards really. I'm looking towards actually trying to pick up doubles as much as possible. I want to get another DAO and play doubles as much as possible.
Ooh.
It's really enjoyable.
It is, isn't it? Like that.
Yeah.
It was like a brand new game, brand new experience. Like once I picked up doubles, I stopped playing singles.
It's difficult. It is very, very difficult to just pick up and learn. So going from, SP to single player life, it's very, very hard.
That's the Twitch channel. Forgot to. He plays lots of legal games on Twitch. You can also catch him on other streams elsewhere, but we won't post those here.
Dot, what's your favorite 2DX?
Oh, my favorite 2D. Oh man, that would definitely have to be. Oh, that's so tough, dude.
Think about it.
Okay, what's your favorite home release?
Okay, home release. Distorted has a huge place in my heart.
Why is that?
Just because that was the initial 2DX where I started hammering out a lot of the hard charts, and I remember Cardinal Gate was actually one of the first extra stage kind of sort of things that really tested me a lot, and I loved the freaking songs in it. Absolutely
the
loved the
arcade
song.
system was amazing.
Corner Gate.
Absolutely
Amazing.
Again, that was another Yoshitaka special there.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just saying, like he was definitely the idea man.
Current HD 2DX, I would definitely say, I liked Sinobuzz. Sinobuzz is hype. Just because the whole is amazing. Song list is hype, and then that's followed up by a close second with Tricoro. So
If you could, I'm sorry, continue.
No, that's it.
If you could re-release a 2DX game in HD, which one would it be?
Oh man. To be fair, it would probably be 10 style.
Oh yes, okay. Good answer.
Yeah, because that would be. I could definitely see that. That would be hype as hell.
10 style was pretty cool.
Yeah, the UI was dope. I love the BGM.
One, right?
Yeah.
The UI, the BGM, all the songs were like mature yet still game songs. It was great.
Absolutely.
Have you guys ever played that arcade version?
Yes, I played it once. Played it once at Arcade Infinity before they switched it to Red.
Have you played Monzenbarai course? Monzenbarai on original 5 chart. Monzenbarai course. Do you remember it?
Oh, it was a course.
It's a course. It's an expert course. It's a back style. Remember when they had that where you had to like
the backside courses?
Yeah, it was a backside on King. It was a stupid hard course.
What about the King course? What's the question? I'm sorry.
The Monzenburai course is the backside of King, and it's really bad. That's what he's trying to. He's asking if you ever played it.
I just played King course because of Sea Star Flare.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while. He made a video.
Oh, I just saw. Tommy asked, worst 2DX game in my opinion.
Yes, the most piece
why?
of shit 2DX game. Go.
I think for me that one would have to be Spada. Spada was
there's reasons though. There are reasons.
Yeah, we talked about it not too long ago, and
I
totally get it now.
Yeah, I mean, like the UI is like whatever, man. Like you could just deal with the UI, but like I'm not gonna lie, like the song list was fucking trash. Like in my opinion, I just did not like it. Like it was just. Yeah, it's just there's so many songs. There's so many songs that I could just go on. I'm like, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
And it's interesting because if you started on Spada, you would have no idea, and you would go, "This is what 2DX is like," and you would love it.
Absolutely, and I was in England at the time when we were playing Spada on P World. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But I remember all the new heads hopping in, and they're like, "Man, this is the best version." I'm like, "Man, like." Golly, like
Spada was my first arcade one though. So there you go.
I respect you guys. I respect that. Like if it's your first like 2DX, absolutely, like we get it. But like if you come from like the old head, like just old 2DX, and you see Spada, it's like, damn, like what happened? Like the yeah, the UI is bad. Like 2DX spotted the powers and souls and
You also have to consider for
Listen to the
Spada,
voice
if you're
sample.
crossing over, the Spada is really good if you're crossing over from other Beatmania games because it had the best crossover events.
Which Spada did?
Yeah, because you had like the Beatmania Ruins, you had like the stadium event. Like I love Spada just because I recognize so many songs from DDR. It's like, wow, these songs are great and they're even better in 2DX. I love it.
oh, let me see if I can find it real
I
quick.
think Macau D's first 2DX was Spada, reportedly. That's what I heard.
Wow. Wow.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That was his first game.
That was his first game.
That's
He's
insane.
so good now. What happened?
That's what he meant when he was saying that like people getting into it now are just shooting
Because
up.
he
What
has
was I doing with
played
my whole life?
AC.
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
Cho's theory is that he played easy to DJ, and so that is what made him good at 2DX.
So many Korean players started playing easy to DJ for. That's why they're really good.
Cho, can you source us an easy to DJ so we can play it at the arcades in America?
Yeah, I want to play.
There you go. Have some photos for my Spada day.
Like imagine how America doesn't have an easy to DJ anywhere except like one place. That's what 2DX was like 10 years ago.
The Baron.
The art for the letter grade is so
you need
ugly.
to be
Wow.
the guy. You need to be the catalyst, Cho. Help us.
First of all, there is no option like C+. You know that, right? So this is there's a little different from the 2DX chart readings. So
I'll just use a towel. It's cool. Towel mod.
maybe you cannot use owls. You just
No, I can.
He said, "No, I can."
No, I don't think you can.
There was a funny story, and maybe John Hamm will remember. I was playing 7th Mix 5-key Beatmania at Funsville, and those early 5-key machines had like Expert Plus courses where you did the 10 hardest songs in a row. And because you couldn't change your high speed mid course, like you had to pick your high speed to stick with it. I asked John Hamm many a time to be my towel, and so there's not really anywhere to hold the towel on those old 5-key machines. So we just used a folded piece of paper that he would just hold in place for me. I don't know if you remember that, John.
I do remember that. You played in the middle too, right?
Yeah, I played middle, which was good times.
And
I remember-
has so many hard cardinal songs, much harder than 2DX. Just
But what about O2
yeah,
Jam?
You need to get used to that cardinal. So many cardinals.
Dot, I have a question for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, what's up, man?
Do you think 2DX should get re-rated? And how would you re-rate it if you think so?
Yes. I do think that 2DX does need to go under a re-rate, but it doesn't need to be so severe that a lot of people are like, it shouldn't go up to some crazy ass number like 24.
It shouldn't be like DDR.
Yeah, it shouldn't be anything like that. I think the way that they should rate it is just like the click again ratings, like decimal ratings. That would be so much easier. Just sit down, look at the 12s, be like, all right, and kind of leave. It would be even cooler if they add in a hard clear or extra hard clear difficulty, but that would cause a lot more work. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if they could do, through the 12 folder, okay, let's say, I don't know, Mosaic is a fucking 12.2 depending on this stuff, and then you look at Confi, which is a 12 point, going up to 12.12 is max. So you're just dividing it by just 12 more ratings and a sub rating.
12.12 harder than a 12.2.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's if you're talking decimals.
Oh God! Oh my God! You guys, here we go. I'm so glad Bill isn't in here, man. He probably would have roasted. It could make sense that way.
I've thought about this before, and it's possible. What if they can make it and kind of pander to the BMS crowd, which they're obviously doing already? Once you get to 12s, they'll end up being another folder within the 12s that go 1 through 12, and so it's like you're now in the real 2DX game. You're like, oh shit,
Welcome. Oh shit, yeah. No, that's absolutely. I absolutely agree. That would be a great idea.
There was just so you guys know, there was a sound sample in Distorted that said level 13. So Konami has been thinking about it.
Yeah, for
Since at
15
least
years.
Assorted, yeah.
Okay, so to branch off of that question, why do you think Konami has not done it?
Amount of songs, amount of time. Honestly, I mean, because you're looking.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Because you're looking at, there's normal, hyper, and another. For all these charts. I mean, and what they usually pump out, a version every single year. I seriously do not think that this could happen in just a year. This is probably, who knows, this could be happening in the background right now. But this would definitely have to take a lot of time. Re-rating every single song to that sort of scaling. There's so many charts. You're talking about just songs, but then look at how many charts total. That's a lot of time.
I think Konami has metrics. So they know what people can clear, and they know how many people attempted charts. Yeah, they have the information to make a reasonable, which is from what I understand, that's why they do re-ratings from style to style sometimes. They look at the clear rate for certain songs, and it's like, okay, this 12 maybe shouldn't have been a 12, it should be an 11.
Metrics in it.
Probably money. I think if they don't re-rate it, people are going to just play a random one and go, I can probably do it, and then no, you can't.
Well, people already do that now. Like, I see people like Hans or something that are like a little below my level, and they're starting out in 11s or something, and they just go through the 11s folder and pick, I don't know, a somewhat easy 11, maybe like Insane Techniques, and then they pick Critical Crystal, and it's like, well, my life's terrible. I hate this game.
Is that what they say?
Well, no, but I imagine that's how they feel, because it's an awful feeling, I think, if you're like trying to get better. And you don't know the rankings. Yeah.
Wow, so much improvement. Face that picture, so much improvement.
Oh yeah, that's for spotted days to cannonballers.
Yeah.
But
I think. Go on.
Yeah, I think the rating thing would be cool though. Yeah, but what were you saying, Ryan?
I'm thinking about it's like Sound Voltex, right? I don't play it that much, but I noticed that they have like high levels where it's with like 19 or 20. I don't play, I'm sorry. But I noticed like there's not much in the folder, just like DDR, right? You have like 5 songs in the 19 folder. But once you're already there, you're kind of like maxed out and you capped. Then what do? With 2DX, if it's huge already, you have this mental idea that it's endless. And you have so many more things you can do without feeling like you're at the top. And you keep spending more money. I think there's some sort of strategy with it, but I just don't know what it is.
I mean, it's a different thing with Sound Voltex where, so the skill cap in Sound Voltex, I think, is lower, or the skill ceiling is lower, so it's easier to achieve compared to 2DX. So like, yeah, 20s are like stupid in terms of difficulty, but like people have already PUC'd almost all of them except for Finale.
But it's mostly because like how much Sound Voltex charts cannot get too much harder without just being like, the 20s are already stupid, but they can't get too much harder without just being, just not fun.
Right. Yeah. Like, I would argue that they're feeling that way. And then going back to like the ratings thing, Sound Voltex for the longest time was 1 to 15, and then they added 16s, and then they re-rated it to 1 to 20. So it's definitely not unprecedented. And all the other Beatmania games have experienced it too, with Pop and Music, Itadora. So I think it's doable. It can happen, but it would take. I would agree with Dot. It would take a ton of time.
We'll see what they do. We hope. We hope for a re-rating.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to stretch out this. I don't know how long we have for these calls. I've never done one of these. I just want to keep asking questions.
No, you're good.
What do you feel about 2DX Serious?
So I didn't play too much Serious, just because that was kind of like the time frame. Because I'm from Texas, and we didn't like. I don't even know if they're other than Dan Adam. I think he was the only guy who had a. Yeah, I didn't know him at the time, so I was only playing CS copies. But I watched a ton of videos about Serious.
Songs was good, but extra stage and the event was bad. That parallel rotation was not so good.
So I can't really speak too much on Serious because I've never played it, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I have really, really, really mixed feelings, but that's just me personally.
First photo.
Oh my gosh.
First.
All right, well, I think we're at a good point to go ahead and wrap this up. We are way over, but that's all right because this is about a game we love, so it's not a problem with me. I appreciate everybody contributing here. I think you guys are awesome for sticking with us for this long.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead and play the theme song. Again, maybe we haven't decided what a topic for next week, I don't think, but we'll talk about it in the Discord. But
I mean, Dance Rush might be out by then, so that'd probably be a good episode.
yeah, that might be a good time to talk about it. But we'll see. I'll announce it at some point, and we'll figure it out. But signing off tonight on this fifth episode? We've done this for 5 episodes already.
Yeah.
Georgia Music Gamers Podcast. 5 plus 0. I appreciate it. Signing off, and everybody go ahead and say goodbye.
Hey.
Bye.
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 Bye. Goodbye.
Damn.